1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the address of the White House, is by far one of the most famous addresses in the world. Unfortunately, only a few people get a chance to go inside and see it. That's because there's only a limited number of tickets available each year. Well, today we're going there on a tour so that you can see what's inside. The rooms in the White House are beautiful and stunning, and I can't wait to show you around. So, without any further delay, let's go see it. If you are one of the fortunate few who have a ticket to go to the White House, I strongly recommend you get there early. There are going to be people outside the White House who are trying to share their political views or to win over causes. There are marches, demonstrations. There is all sorts of reasons that could stop you from getting there on time, which could delay your entry or even prevent you from going inside the White House. So don't delay, get there early, have enough time to walk around and feel comfortable. Those of you who are familiar with my channel know that I specialize in fun and interesting things for individuals and families to do in the DC metro area. The best thing that you can do to support my channel is to like and subscribe. The White House is one of the most secure places in the entire world, and you will see a heavy security footprint, so don't be surprised to see officers in vehicles, on bikes, on foot, all over the place and at all times. Later on, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get one of those golden tickets and visit the White House. However, if you do have a ticket, it's important that you make sure you read your instructions very carefully and bring all your required documents. If even one of them is missing, you forget your ID, they are not going to allow you access. So make sure you bring all your state documents with you so that you can get in without any problem. Many of the people who are visiting are from all corners of the world and throughout the United States, as well as local DC residents. I mentioned earlier that there were layers and layers of security checks. Just be mindful that once you get through the front gate, you still have to go through several more checks before you get to the East Wing, which is going to be the entrance to the White House. If you are from out of town, you may be quite surprised that the size of the White House is quite small. It only sits on about 18 acres. And there's a lot of green space surrounding the White House. And the most popular is going to be the Rose Garden. Unfortunately, if you are on a tour of the White House, you don't get a chance to go out and explore that green space. However, there are multiple windows that you can look out and see portions of the gardens. And this is some of those views that you get of the garden area if you are walking within the White House. Almost every single American president lived in the White House with one notable exception, and that was George Washington. George Washington selected the site, but the first president to actually move into the White House was John Adams some 8 years later. There is a lot of history surrounding the White House. Unfortunately, you're not going to have a guided tour, so there's not going to be anyone there to tell you. However, most of the things, pictures that you'll look at will have photographs of presidents doing historic things. I like this section of the White House because you're not actually there yet. It's actually leading you to the main rooms. It's like a giant hallway, but along that hallway is pictures of historic events that have occurred at the White House that sort of whets your appetite for what's to come. The clip just before this one is the only location within your tour of the White House where you're going to be able to buy something. However, what you're looking at right now is the official White House souvenir store, which is actually located across the street from the White House. If you want to get a gift or a souvenir, I strongly recommend you come here. The gift shop only has a small amount of offerings, nothing really that's going to be significant to commemorate your visit. The gift shop, however, is very well stocked and it has a wide assortment of gifts. This is the hallway leading to the major rooms in the White House, and what I want to show you in this clip is how people are dressed. And as you can see, there is really no official dress code. You can come any way that you want, but I think most people dress up a little bit. However, as you can see, quite a fair number are in shorts and t-shirts. If you look at the White House from the outside, it looks fairly small. However, it's quite large. It has 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms. It has 6 levels to the residency, 28 fireplaces, 8 staircases, and 3 elevators. If you're wondering if visiting the White House with kids is the right move for you and your family, absolutely. I was there with my kids and there were plenty other kids there and they had a great time. It was one of our most memorable family trips. Unfortunately, you won't see all of the rooms in your White House tour. However, you will see some notable rooms. It takes you on two different levels. The level we're on right now, and we'll see upstairs in just a moment. If you have difficulty walking and getting around, the White House is not off limits to you. I will say though that it is very crowded and congested at times, especially in some of the areas that are kind of popular. There are stairs, so even if you can walk, you're going to have to walk upstairs as there is limited wheelchair or disability access. Now, if you do have mobility issues, the only other bad thing is that you'll have to be on your feet for the entire tour. There's nowhere for you to sit down and rest your feet. This is the East Room, which is an event and reception room used for dances, receptions, press conferences, ceremonies, concerts, and banquet. It is the largest room in the executive residence. The room was designed by John Hoban and George Washington to be a public audience room. One of the most notable things that happened in this room was that President Johnson signed the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which is a monumental legislation that changed the lives of millions of Americans. This is the Green Room, which is one of 3 state parlors. It is used for small receptions and tea. The furniture in this room dates back to the early 1800s. As you're walking through the White House, don't forget to look outside because the views are stunning. This is a view right here from the North Lawn, which has a site of the Washington Monument. One of the things I really enjoyed about my tour is how beautiful and stunning each room looked. The furnitures are just in absolute phenomenal shape. And the reality is that these rooms are actually in use. They're not just showpieces. When they have receptions or important dinners, these rooms are utilized. When you look at the White House from the outside, as I said earlier, it looks like a small building, but when you actually get here, it's quite large. However, if you compare the White House size to other presidential palaces elsewhere in the world, it's kind of small. Visitors who come from other countries are oftentimes disappointed at the size of the White House, but the White House represents the United States that began as a humble, small, modest country, and it's kept that charm over all these years. So many of the rooms that you look at are just elegantly designed. But if you go, say, to another country that's maybe much smaller than the United States and has a far less global footprint, you'll find that they have far larger and more elegant structures. This is the state dining room used for receptions, luncheon, large formal dinners, and for visiting heads of state on official state visit. It seats approximately 140 people. One of the things that was really impressive to me was the paintings that were on the wall. It was a pleasant surprise. I really wasn't expecting to see some of these artworks because they are paintings of presidents that are in history books that I had when I was in school. So it was really moving to come here to the White House and see them on the wall.
I think so. Let's wait.
The best photo opportunity is going to be this right here, where you take a photograph in front of the presidential seal, which is on top of that door. As you're walking throughout the White House, there are guards everywhere, and they're not just guarding the furniture and the rooms. They are also filled with information about history of the White House, because thousands of people come through there every day, so they get asked repeatedly the same question. So if you have a question about something you're looking at, if you ask them, don't be surprised that they'll give you the full rundown on the history, not only of the room but also the items within the room and the White House itself. If you would like a ticket to tour the White House, you have to send a letter, email to your member of Congress, and they will work on getting you tickets. The only downside is you have to do so several months in advance. So getting a ticket is possible. It just takes a long time to do so. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.